You're doing all the right things like eating clean and staying active, but nearly all of us are still missing a key piece: minerals. Concentrate's Daily Mineral Powder helps restore what your body's not getting, supporting mood, energy, immunity, and nervous system balance. It's made from ionic trace minerals your body actually absorbs and comes in 3 delicious flavors: blue raspberry, blue Hawaiian, and blue acai. Because your body can't make minerals and modern food and water don't supply enough, start with minerals. Start with Concentrates. Find it now at traceminerals.com.
Timequake, the universe screams in disarray. Timequake, a shattered path we can't betray.
Welcome, travelers of the time stream, to a very special edition of the Source Material Comics podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Starcher, and today kicks off our contribution to the latest Super Blog Team Up event, this one, titled In Time. It's a community-wide celebration of all things time travel, where bloggers and podcasters unite to spotlight stories that bend, break, and blow up the timeline in the name of comic book greatness. For our part in this time-hopping extravaganza, I'll be guiding you through the 5-part reality-warping saga known as Timequake, straight from the pages of What If Volume 2, published by Marvel Comics and originally hitting shelves back in 1992. Each of the 5 issues presents a distorted timeline where things just didn't go differently, they went catastrophically wrong. And as the alternate realities spiral out of control, a larger cosmic crisis begins to unfold, one that threatens the entire multiverse. This storyline was crafted by Roy Thomas, with assistance from R.J.M. LaFassiere, and featured a rotating cast of artists. Now here's where things get extra fun. To bring this adventure to life in a whole new way, I've created a custom instrumental soundtrack for each episode. You'll hear it behind me while I'm talking. This was composed using Suno.com. Each track was inspired by the tone and events of the individual issues, and if you head over to Suno.com, by following the link in the description below, you can read along and listen for a truly immersive experience. Now here's the plan. Over the next 5 days, I'll be releasing 5 episodes, one for each issue of Timequake, covering every reality-twisting plot, cosmic confrontation, and temporal tampering. So grab your multiverse cap, sync up your chrono band, and prepare to dive into one of Marvel's most bizarre, ambitious, and interconnected what-if stories ever told. This is Timequake. Now, before we get started with the episode, do not forget to head to Twitter and type in hashtag SBTU or hashtag SuperBlogTeamUp, and you should be able to find many of the contributions that are happening in this event. And they'll kind of lay it all out there for you. Here's some of the participants and what they're bringing to the table. Between the Pages blog is bringing When Scooby-Doo Met the Flintstones and the Jetsons. Also, Partying with the Flintstones and the Jetsons. The Superhero Satellite brings in Hex Communications. Dave's Comic Heroes blog, Superman and Superboy Switch. That should be interesting. We also have the Telltale Mind, Time and Time Again, The Man Who Lived Forever. Asterisk 51, good old Evan Bevins brings us Squirrel Girl Masters Time Travel. He's been wanting me to read that for a while. And as far as I can tell, as of right now, that is what we have on the list. There could be more added after I've recorded this. So please make sure to check out Twitter for any late additions. Let's get on with the show. We open with What If, issue 35. What if the Fantastic Five had invaded the negative zone? Written by Roy Thomas, penciled by Joe Phillips, inked by Sam De La Rosa, lettered by Janice Chiang, and colored by Marie Javins. The comic also credits R.J.M. LaFassiere as a writer here as well. On the moon, within the solemn solitude of his citadel, Uatu the Watcher reflects on the nature of his existence. To the uninformed, he may seem a passive observer, fated to witness without interfering. But Uatu admits he does more than simply watch. For each quantum shift in the universe births a new reality, an infinite cascade of alternate timelines, all shaped by a single divergent choice. Amidst the vast multiverse, certain beings hold immense power to alter its fate. Those called Nexus beings. Uatu introduces 3 such figures whose influence over the time stream is legendary. There's Sis Neg, a 31st century sorcerer who became one with the universe. Then Merlin, the timeless advisor to King Arthur, and Kang the Conqueror, whose meddling has spawned a legion of variants across time. These are nexuses, fixed points that shape destinies. Uatu recalls a time when he once subtly manipulated Earth's heroes to stop Leonard Tippett, a dangerously unstable Nexus being. He notes that there are other entities who monitor such threats, the bureaucratic Time Variance Authority, for one who recently clashed with the Fantastic Four. Deeper still are the Timekeepers, cosmic beings who exist at the end of time, seeking to preserve the integrity of the time stream. They once appointed Immortus, ruler of Limbo and future self of Kang, as its custodian. In return, he was granted absolute authority over 1,000 years of time, so long as he obeyed them. Immortus acted under their orders to prune realities and eliminate dangerous Nexus threats, but there was one being too powerful to erase: Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. Born a Nexus, Wanda's hex powers influenced probabilities on a universal scale. Immortus secretly groomed her as the ultimate Nexus to control all future timelines, but his plans were foiled when Agatha Harkness broke the spell over Wanda, allowing her to reclaim her autonomy. Wanda's rebellion sent shockwaves across the multiverse, compelling the Timekeepers to act directly. They stripped Wanda's Nexus energy and funneled it into Immortus, binding him forever to Limbo. They believed their mission accomplished. Reality stabilized. But even cosmic beings miscalculate. The present feels a tremor through the cosmic web. Someones are again threatening the time stream. As he confers with the Timekeepers, the truth emerges. During Immortus' watch, 4 Nexus beings slip past unnoticed. The Timekeepers are alarmed. If their existence is to remain intact, these anomalies must be destroyed. Uatu watches, disturbed, as the trio resolves to correct their error. The Timequake has begun. Uatu protests the Timekeepers' plan to interfere with multiple alternate realities simply to preserve their own existence. But the Timekeepers dismiss his concerns, justifying their intervention as necessary. As Uatu peers into one such altered timeline, he realizes with a start that he recognizes this world. A familiar reality where Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four, forming the Fantastic Five. In this world, Reed Richards is frantically working with high-tech equipment while Spider-Man, the Thing, and Human Torch try to get his attention. Sue Storm is in the hospital, moments away from delivering their child, but Reed is focused on a dangerous mission. He's discovered that both Sue and their unborn baby are in peril due to a mysterious energy deficiency. The only substance that might save them is antimatter, found only in the negative zone. Without hesitation, Reed declares he's returning to that dimension alone. But his teammates insist on joining him, including a concerned Spider-Man who, despite being new to the group, is deeply invested. Moments later, they launch into the swirling void of the negative zone, navigating the treacherous energies and gravitational pools as they race to their destination. Meanwhile, back with the Timekeepers, Uatu questions their motives. Why this world? Why now? They reveal their target: Franklin Richards, the unborn son of Reed and Sue, who is destined to become a powerful Nexus being. If the Timekeepers are to secure the control of their timeline, Franklin must never be born. But how will they prevent this without direct interference? Their solution? Summon a threat already existing in this timeline: Annihilus, the cruel insectoid tyrant who rules the negative zone. The Timekeepers awaken the monstrous being, counting on him to eliminate Reed before he can save his family. Sure enough, as the Fantastic Five venture through the zone, one of Annihilus's scavenger creatures attacks them. It grabs Spider-Man specifically, carrying him off towards the depths of the zone, The team leaps into action. The Human Torch and the Thing work to subdue the creature mid-flight, while Reed and Johnny attempt to free Peter without harming him. The Beast finally flings Spider-Man into a pile of debris, disorienting him. As Peter regains his senses, he finds himself surrounded by a bizarre assembly of grotesque beings, Annihilus' prisoners. It doesn't take long before Annihilus himself makes an appearance. The insect overlord addresses his captives, eager to test their limits and learn their secrets, especially Spider-Man's. Though unimpressed with most of his captives, Annihilus senses that Peter Parker is different and intends to uncover the mystery of his powers. Spider-Man, never one to stay quiet, replies with snark, but the danger is only beginning. Spider-Man bravely faces off against the fearsome Annihilus, but the insect overlord wastes no time blasting him with the cosmic control rod, sending him flying. Peter's quips don't help him much, as Annihilus becomes intrigued by the Fantastic Five's mission. One Reed Richards hasn't even fully explained to his own team yet. But before Annihilus can press for answers, Spider-Man leaps into action again. The villain, now enraged, declares that no one's muscular abilities can match the might of his cosmic weapon. As the rod crackles with energy, it becomes clear that this very device may be the key to saving Sue and her unborn child, though Spider-Man, currently in survival mode, hasn't realized that yet. Annihilus taunts Spider-Man with cruelty and power, even drawing comparisons to Blastar, another monstrous Negative Zone warlord. But Spidey isn't rattled. He blinds Annihilus with webbing and, in a daring move, wrests the cosmic control rod from his hands and makes a break for it, sprinting into a nearby corridor with Annihilus in pursuit. Meanwhile, Reed, Johnny, and Ben scour the desolate landscape above. Reed is sure that the creature that took Spider-Man is close by. After a few wisecracks and a brief scuffle, they stumble across a translucent creature rising from the ground. Reed immediately recognizes it as a trap, but one they must spring if they hope to find Peter. They enter the strange construct, which seems to react to their presence. Soon, they're ambushed by bizarre threats. Reed is attacked by a spinning saw blade from the floor, Johnny by an all-engulfing sonic sponge, and Ben by a brute-sized machine. The team fights back while Reed attempts to analyze their enemies and buy time. Just when it seems like all three are about to be overwhelmed, something neutralizes the threats. It's Spider-Man. Reappearing dramatically with the cosmic control rod in hand, Spidey explains that he borrowed it from Annihilus himself. Reed examines the artifact and confirms it holds the precise energy they need to save Sue and their unborn child. This was the very reason they came to the Negative Zone. Without hesitation, the team moves to return to Earth. The rod begins melting away through the crystalline wall like a knife through butter. But as they prepare to leave, Reed cautions they must be vigilant. Annihilus may not give up so easily. And indeed, in the shadows, someone or something is watching. Back in the Timekeeper's realm, Uatu warns that the Fantastic Five's victory may be short-lived. That wishes granted often come with a price. The Timekeepers, cold and clinical, dismiss Uatu's worries and explain their method, using unwitting custodians to manipulate events without destabilizing the time stream. Though Immortus once served them directly, he proved too clumsy. This time, they'll enlist someone who knows nothing of them or the Negative Zone, someone with raw, untapped ambition. That someone is Dr. Doom. Meanwhile, the Fantastic Five begin their perilous return trip from the Negative Zone. As they navigate a region where matter can be dangerously converted into antimatter, Annihilus suddenly opens fire on them from a gunship. They're jolted but not killed, thanks to the shielding properties of the cosmic control rod. Reed begins activating the rod's power to push back, but Spider-Man urges him to act faster. Reed blasts Annihilus' ship, but the explosion causes chaos. The team tumbles, barely cushioned by a rocky outcrop. Johnny flies off to search for the dropped cosmic control rod, which slipped from Reed's grasp. He finds it just as it is snatched by a new figure cloaked in shadow. Dr. Doom emerges from the swirling chaos, declaring that he is now in possession of the rod. He reveals he became aware of its existence through mysterious means and sees it as the key to power and his ticket out of the Negative Zone. Doom taunts the heroes with his newfound advantage, then departs, leaving the team to suffer the wrath of the zone's unstable terrain. As Doom leaves, fragments of rock begin accelerating toward an antimatter planet, primed to explode once they get too close. Doom casually informs them of their fate and disappears. Back on Earth, Susan Storm lies in a hospital bed, writhing in labor. Crystal, temporarily serving in Sue's place on the team, comforts her but is clearly distraught. Sue, despite her pain, pleads to know where Reed and the others are, intuitively sensing they're in grave danger. The doctors rush to get Sue into the delivery room. Crystal pulls one aside and begs for clarity. Is there no way to save Sue and the baby? The doctor grimly admits that without the unknown element the team has gone to retrieve, both Susan and her unborn child may not survive the night. As Doom makes his escape with the cosmic control rod, a furious Annihilus intercepts him. The two titans clash violently in the skies of the negative zone. Doom, unshaken, calmly reveals his deep understanding of the rod's secrets, how it grants immense power and even virtual immortality. Information Doom has uncovered on the zone through sheer intellect. Annihilus undeterred, he unveils another weapon, a devastating energy cannon called the Annihilator, and blasts Doom with it. Meanwhile, the Fantastic Five observe their chaos from a nearby ledge, watching the aftermath of the Annihilus-Doom conflict unleash seismic destruction across the zone. As Spider-Man, Torch, Thing, and Reed scramble to make sense of the situation, Reed's thoughts turn grim. He realizes with horror that if the cosmic control rod is destroyed in the crossfire, Sue and their unborn baby will die. The battle between Doom and Annihilus continues, but then something bizarre happens. Doom's astral form is suddenly yanked from his body. He finds himself face to face with a mysterious hooded figure known only as the Whisperer. This being claims to be the enemy of the voice that lured Doom here, an agent of the Timekeepers. The Whisperer exposes the truth. The Timekeepers lied. The cosmic control rod will not save Doom's mother from Mephisto as they promised. Instead, the real stakes lie in the lives of Susan Richards and her unborn son, a Nexus being whose death would emotionally unhinge Reed Richards and eventually lead Earth into a nuclear war. Doom is shaken. The Whisperer implores him, return the rod to Reed. Prevent the coming apocalypse. Moments later, Doom snaps back into his body mid-battle. Surprisingly, instead of continuing to fight, he tosses the rod to Reed, declaring he cannot stand idly by and let a child die, not even the child of his greatest foe. The Fantastic Five are stunned. Reed is speechless, but Doom instructs them to flee while he holds off Annihilus. Spider-Man cracks a joke, but Reed knows something has changed in Doom. His gesture was sincere. They retreat with Reed still processing the villain's unexpected heroism. Behind them, Annihilus screams in frustration, knowing that if the rod is lost to him, so is his immortality. The final battle between Dr. Doom and Annihilus erupts in full fury. Annihilus, enraged by Doom's interference and the loss of the cosmic control rod, unleashes a brutal assault. He viciously stabs Doom's arm and rains down blows, declaring that Doom's friends only took a portion of his power. Now he intends to finish Doom with everything he has left. But Doom, ever defiant, refuses to give in. The two clash in thunderous explosion, an apocalyptic burst that obliterates the surrounding rock, leaving nothing but lifeless debris drifting in the void of the negative zone. In his berserk rage, Annihilus never notices that Doom had drifted perilously close to the antimatter planet below. Back on Earth, dawn breaks over the hospital. The Fantastic Five wait anxiously, Spider-Man nervously hanging upside down from the ceiling. Just as tension reaches its peak, the doctor announces that Reed is a father. Sue and the baby have both survived. The team breathes a collective sigh of relief. Reed cradles his newborn son, while Johnny joyfully declares himself an uncle. Joy overwhelms them, even as the larger implications go unnoticed. The child is a Nexus being, destined to shape the fate of the Earth. Meanwhile, far beyond Uatu reflects, the Timekeepers have lost this round. Franklin Richards has been born, but they remain unshaken. As other Earths still hang in the balance, each with its own nexus to eliminate. They never even informed Annihilus or Doom of the true stakes. Their pawns were expendable. In one final act, the mysterious Whisperer reaches out to Doom. As Doom and Annihilus prepare for their final strike, both of them vanish, erased from that alternate reality, consigned to non-existence and oblivion. For one world, the game was over, Uatu solemnly concludes. For the multiverse at large, it had barely begun. Thanks for being here for this part of Timequake. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next exciting installment. And make sure to head to Twitter and check out hashtag SBTU or hashtag SuperblogTeamUp. Should be able to find all of the great participants taking part in the Superblog Team Up event in time.